What's up guys, Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new deck profile, bringing you guys an update really to the Invoked Mekk deck. It has been a little while since the last update, but I was really kind of struggling to come up with some changes because the build honestly hadn't changed too much at all really from the previous list, but just recently on my own working through some changes, cutting some things and adding some new things in, just to kind of mix things up. So you guys will see what I'm talking about in a moment, and I'll explain everything when we get to those points. So we can go ahead and get started. After I mention a quick shout out to our sponsor at Imperium Duelist. You guys know they are and have been for quite some time the sponsor of this channel. So if you want to help support me and pick up some amazing sleeves or playmats or dice or calculator cases, you name it, any card game, accessories, things like that, a link to their website down below. With the discount code WinterKills 10% off, which you can use to save 10% off your entire order. So let's go ahead and get into the profile now. And to start, we'll start with, of course, the monsters. What else is new? But none other than the 3 Alistair the Invoker. This is obviously your main play starter. Grabs your Invocation, linking it off into our new link monster that we've been using, the Salamangreat Almirage. Now the next thing I've done is added in 2 copies of Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. Now the reason why I'm running Ibli in here, and I don't know if I was running this in the previous list, but this proved in testing to actually be pretty decent for when you don't see Alistair. Now we do play tons of ways to get to Alistair, but that doesn't always change the fact that you're going to see this card. And also with the Dawn of Nibiru, this card being a pretty good hard counter to it when you do have to go first. And also, this card has really great synergy with Mekk Knights, Purple Nightfall and Blue Sky. More namely, just, Blue Sky, it has very good synergy with, because you can normal this, link it into your either Almirage or your Link Disciple, primarily your Link Disciple, and then give this to your opponent in that column that your Link Disciple is in, and you can summon Blue Sky to get yourself a Mekk Knight Surge turn 1, resolving Blue Sky turn 1, which is something that is rarely done in most Mekk Knight strategies, just because a lot of times when you go first, your opponent doesn't really have a card for you to work with unless you give them one through Ibli. So it's sort of an alternative for when you don't see Alistair. I like it, and I've been in testing. I've been liking it, although it is cuttable for sure. You can definitely drop it if you didn't want to. It's not a mandatory card at this point, I would say. But moving forward, 3 Purple Nightfall. In my opinion, the best Mekk Knight, the one you really always want to see first, because he can turn into any other Mekk Knight for the given situation. You can grab Red Moon to clear cards. You can grab Yellow Star to clear back row. You can grab Blue Sky to search more Mekk Knights. So 3 Mekk Knight, Purple Nightfall, hands down. Gotta play it. 2 Mekk Knight, Blue Sky. Again, the searcher, the main searcher of the deck that most times you'll search off him. Summon him out, and then he gains. You basically search for however many cards are in the column that your opponent controls. So if they have 3, you get to add 3 Mekk Knight cards. If they have 2, you get to add 2. If they have 1, you get to add 1. So a very powerful searcher. 2 Mekk Knight Indigo Eclipse. Again, this guy has really good synergy for just being a body, a beat stick, and he also has the ability to move any Mekk Knight into another column, which comes in handy for the trap card. And a lot of Mekk Knights play into that sort of column chess strategy, and Indigo Eclipse makes that strategy entirely possible because we can shift things out of the way and be able to negate things by moving things over, be able to dodge attacks by moving things over when in combination with Morningstar and the trap card, World Legacy Secrets, so on and so forth. So now moving on, we have 1 Red Moon and 1 Yellow Star. 1 Mekk Knight Red Moon, 1 Mekk Knight Yellow Star. One thing I want to get into a habit of for deck profiles is actually fully pronouncing the name of each card that I put out, just so people understand more what the card is that I'm talking about, just for future reference, I guess. But yeah, I like having the option of just playing the yellow and the red. I know most builds, and some builds that I've seen, just play the 2 indigo, the 2 blue, and the 3 purple. I just hate, later in the game having to search for purple and like indigo when I've already summoned them and they're just kind of like dead cards on the field, and in my hand as well. I like being able to search these out to clear problem cards and just have other options to search out blue or purple. So that's why I went with them. So that's the main reason I'm playing these 2 copies. And just like most of the time, it doesn't hurt seeing extra Mekk Knights in your hand. So that's it for the Mekk Knights and the Invoked Mekk Knight part of the deck, minus the Iblis, I guess. Now we'll move into basically the other part of the monsters that sort of changed the build a bit, I guess. We have 1 Shaddoll Beast and 1 Shaddoll Dragon. I've decided to move to the Shaddoll engine over the Striker engine. Not because I necessarily think one is so much better than the other, mainly just for change. And in theory, this version does have a lot more powerful plays, although it does have some more downsides when going second. Although I think now with the new promos and the way the format is shifting, I don't think it's as bad to go second anymore. And I think the Shaddoll engine does fit. I think there's a lot of cool combos you can do with the Shaddoll engine, a lot of value you can get out of it for clearing back or on, you know, an instance, or getting to draw a card, or getting a free special summon like off Trick Clown for Link fodder, or using it for fusion fodder, whatever you really want to use it for. So I think it's versatile to an extent, and I guess one thing I was overlooking in the past was the fact that you can use Invocation actually to fusion for your Shaddoll monster, aka Construct, but you have to use the materials just from your hand. So if you do open them and you do have access to Alistair, you can actually still get access to Construct, which is a very, very powerful card that can out a lot of the powerful Link monsters that we have today. So liking this so far. 2 Ash Blossom and 2 Ghost Ogre for the hand trap lineup. Fire targets, light targets, etc., etc. Ash and Ogre being very good hand traps this format. That's it for the monsters. Now into the spells. We have 3 copies of Instant Fusion. I like this card way better than I like Mind Control. I get that Mind Control is pretty advantageous for the strategy, but it's completely dead going first. Like 100% dead. It has 0 uses going first. This card is a bit different. You can use it going first. You can Instant Fusion out your Raging for fusion plays, for Link plays. But most importantly, you can use it to give yourself a column if you don't see any cards like Alistair or, you know, your Ibly, which does happen sometimes, and you're left with no fusion plays and also no column plays. But this card can help fix that. So that's why I like playing the 3 Instant Fusion. 3 Call by the Grave, stopping hand traps, stopping Dimension Shifter. Very, very strong. Then we have 3 Magical Meltdown, of course, to search out your Alistair, then your Invocation, 3 copies of Shaddoll Fusion. I was thinking about playing 2 of these because I remember somebody mentioned in a previous deck profile I did for this, they said that the Striker engine was dead after turn 1, which I kind of disagree with. I mean, I think at the time, maybe in that deck profile, I was playing 3 Engage, 1 Hornet Drone, but have since, if I were to play that engine here again, I would play a much bigger Striker engine of 3 Engage, 1 Anchor, 1 Afterburner, 1 drones. So is that really dead after turn 1? I mean, I feel like this is more dead after turn 1 than the Striker engine, because you send a Shaddoll and a light, and then you could also send another Shaddoll, another light, but your Construct has been exhausted at that point, because you only play 1 Construct, and you can't really get that card back to your extra deck. But like I said, it's sort of a risk-reward type thing. You do get a lot of value out of a Shaddoll fusion if it resolves, so it's very, very powerful. Then we have 2 Invocation. I just don't like the idea of playing 3. I'm just paranoid as an Invoke player, having to worry about seeing this card and no Alistair, or seeing neither of them, and I don't know. This card can brick sometimes. I hate opening any more than 2 of this card. I hate opening 2 of this card, but it's a necessary evil. You obviously need to play it, but I think 3 is just too much for me. 2 Desires, speaking of 3 ofs, this is also a necessary evil in my opinion. I feel as though the deck does need draw power, because relying on any other thing for consistency, like, it just doesn't happen. Maybe if we had Terraforming at 3, I probably wouldn't play this. But like, I just think you need it. It's just too good. It fixes your hands, and if it doesn't fix your hand, you're gonna lose anyways. I don't know. I'm just a fan of Desires in a lot of decks that, I don't know. It just seems to work for me. 1 Terraforming and 1 Succession. Just because it's basically a searchable monster born off of our Mekk Knight Link, so might as well play it. And 1 searchable double monster negate. Can also bring back Mechaba and Construct. A lot of good synergy with this card to bring back level 5 or higher stuff. It's really great. I'm not playing the rank 9 engine that I've seen a lot of other builds play, just because I think that is like really not good. It's a strictly going first combo, and I feel like this deck thrives off going second. And it adds so many bricks to your hand. And it adds so many bricks to your deck, I should say. Like, the Succession card, or the Monstrosity, yes, you can search it off of your Morningstar, but like, it's so bricky. If you open up any of those other engine requirements, your turn is just pretty much over. Or, I mean, you could use like 2 Mechabas to be able to go into a VFD, but that just seems like a waste of resources at that point for me. I've also decided to drop the Psyframe engine for the time being, just because like, it just felt gimmicky. It's just feeling gimmicky to me at this point, where I just didn't want to just like rely on that search. You know, I could potentially search this in the end phase or be able to use it, but a lot of times I just felt like I was going out of my way just to be able to use this and be able to like pull it off just for the sake of saying that I did. Just so I don't know, I've just cut it since then, and maybe I'll add it back in the future, but for now it's out of the main deck. Another card I want to mention before we go into the extra deck is Dark Ruler No More. I really wanted to put this card in here, and I think 2 would have been fine because this is going second deck. I feel like I'd rather side this than anything, because the one draw to this deck that it has for me personally is its ability to OTK. This does shut off all of your opponent's monsters, but you can't deal any damage. So a lot of times you're going like super all out with just a lot of Mekk Knights and maybe a Boral Sword. That really doesn't leave you much room to like shut your opponent off next turn. They can kind of just blow up your field if they have the right cards. I would rather side this than anything, because if you were still able to deal damage with this for some reason, I would probably play it in the main deck, but for now, just keeping it out of the main deck and rather just side it for the time being. Maybe that will change, but for now, I'm just going to side it. And also, Nibiru as well is another card, but again, another card I would rather just side. I just don't want to open that if I don't need it, etc., etc. Into the extra deck now, 2 Invoked Mekk, 1 Invoked Purgatrio, the main bulk of your fusions that you're going to be going into. I've never needed a second one, never needed a third. Yeah, so just playing those for now. 1 Invoked Caliga. This is a really good stun option and also an instant fusion target for Link Fodder. Really good stun option, though, turn 1. You can use your Shaddolls in grave for it as well. Each player, I believe, only gets to activate 1 monster effect per turn. Even if it was negated, it still counts. And each player can only attack with 1 monster during each battle phase. So it has 1800 defense, and you can boost it up to 28 with an Alistair. So this can be a really big roadblock for your opponent to get over. Then for the rest of the fusions, we have 1 Invoked Ragin, 1000 Ice Restrict, and 1 El Shaddoll Construct, of course, for the Shaddoll engine. So, like, very powerful card. A lot of people, it has the effect that at the start of the damage step, if this card battles a special summon monster, destroy that monster. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Shaddoll spell trap card and add it back to your hand from your graveyard. So this can get over like a lot of cards, save for Boral Sword because it can turn it to defense. But like this outs Borload Dragon, and I'm pretty sure this also outs Avermax as well. It's just such a good card that outs like so many big Link monsters so easily. If you can bait out the Boral Sword Dragon to turn something else to defense, you just kill the Boral Sword, no problem. Just get it out of there. So Contract, still a very powerful card to this day. And one of the reasons, like, I wanted to play Shaddoll engine in something for a while, so it's kind of why I went back to the Shaddoll engine in here. Moving forward for the links, 1 Boral Sword, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. This card is very, very good. Because we do play Mekk Knights, so it kind of screams play me in this deck because it is used level 7 or higher, and most of the Mekk Knights are level 7 or higher. Do you have to play this card? No, I understand it's pretty pricey. You could probably just play any other Nightmare. You can play Underclock Taker. You can play Lambda again if you wanted to. So there are other options. You can play Borload Dragon. The card is common now, after all. 1 Alistair the Invoker Urbanus, 1 Mekk Knight of the Morning Star, 1 Kagari, 1 Almirage, and I almost said Almond Almirage and Link Disciple. This is basically for your Ibli, because you can normal into Ibli and link into this, then give them the Ibli, and this also has another effect where you contribute 1 monster this card points to draw a card, and then place 1 card from your hand or bottom of the deck, from your hand to the bottom of the deck. So this can actually help fix your hand, which is really nice for drawing, like putting back like Shaddoll pieces and stuff. Something I also play in my pure Mekk Knight build, which I'll be updating soon. I just figured it has good carryover since we are playing a Mekk Knight engine, so I figured why not try it in here. But yeah, so that's it for the deck profile portion of this video. We're going to go ahead and get into a combo now involving the Shaddoll engine. It's just going to take 1 Shaddoll Fusion, I believe, 1 Alistair, and I think 1 Mekk Knight. And of course, this is going to be a going second combo as well. But this is going to end on a pretty nasty board. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up for this, and then we'll do a test hand after that. So this is the combo. This is what we'll need. Just Alistair the Invoker, Shaddoll Fusion, and really just any other monster we can get on board. I'm just going to use a random Mekk Knight, and we're also going to just add 2 random cards from our deck to our hand and see what we can get. They really don't matter. We're not going to use them in any way, shape, or form. They just can't be like any of the other Shaddoll stuff. Well, I guess it could be a Shaddoll monster, but preferably not like Trick Clown or something like that. I guess that's the only thing we don't want to draw. But to start, we'll start with the Alistair. And Alistair is going to grab us Invocation. Remember, these cards here are just extra cards. So we'll grab Invocation. And then we're going to link into our Almirage. If I could find it here. Almirage. And then we're going to now play Shaddoll Fusion as the first part of this you know, the first fusion summon, if you will. And we're going to send the not the dragon, but the beast and the Trick Clown. And we could use Construct's effect on summon here, but we're not going to, just because we don't need to. The send effect it has on summon. Yeah, we're gonna summon the Construct, and then we'll go Chainlink 2 Clown, Chainlink 1 Beast, like that, and then we'll draw a card. So again, this card doesn't matter. 3 extra cards in our hand right now that do not make a difference. Now from this point, we're going to link the Construct, or not the Construct, but the Trick Clown and the Almirage into Invoker of Madness, because we have a Light and a Fire and a Cyberse and a Spellcaster, so we can definitely do that. Now we're going to play the Invocation and banish the Alistair and the Trick Clown to be able to summon a copy of Mekk. From here, we're going to use Alistair, the Invoker of Madness effect, to discard the any random card that we have in our hand. It doesn't matter what it is. We're going to discard the Shaddoll Fusion, and that's going to allow us to search another Invocation, but we already have it in our hand, so we don't really need to do that, I guess. But let's just say we didn't have it in our hand. We'll just discard for it anyways, just to add that second copy. Now we'll use Invocation to put itself back in the deck to add back the Alistair. Now from this point, we're going to set the fusion that we search off of Invoker of Madness right here to special summon our Mekk Knight, just like that. And then from here, we're going to link these 3 away into a copy of Borrelsword, who we'll put over there. And then from here, we'll go ahead and flip up this Invocation again, banish this from our, or send this from our hand to the graveyard and banish this, just like that, and summon out a second Mekk. Now, we still do have 1 card in hand to pitch to negate with one of our Mekk, but again, this is a lot of damage. We do have a negate, and we have like deck thinned quite a few cards from our deck off of the Shaddoll engine, and made a pretty big board here. Double Mekk Borrelsword is pretty strong. And then if you were playing the Calamities, you could summon it here if you really wanted to, but this is probably just going to be game. And you also had the opportunity to send a Shaddoll Dragon to clear a back row at some point when we summoned the Construct. So that's just a cool little combo there. A bit of an overextension. I don't know if I'd ever go for it in an actual game, but I just wanted to show off sort of the power and potential that opening up those cards can handle, or pull off, really. I think it would have been better just to leave the Invoker of Madness, the Construct, and the Mekk. I think that would have been pretty good, but I wanted to go the extra mile and show you guys really what like the end limit is of that, you know, these 2 engines working in unison, the Shaddoll engine and the Invoked engine. So now I'm gonna go ahead and pile shuffle real quick, and we'll go ahead and do a random test hand. So I've pile shuffled here, and let's go ahead and draw into a hand and see what we get. Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit is the first card, Mekk Knight of the Red Moon, Invocation, Shaddoll Beast, and a copy of Pot of Desires. We're going to go second, and our 6th card is a copy of Called by the Grave. So ideally, we're going to say we pitched Ogre, maybe we hit a Clutch Servant, or something. Maybe we hit some good card off their field, who knows what it was, but we hit that Servant, and now it is off the field. Or maybe they have an Appaloosa, we can bait that out, and then we hit them with the Ogre, and they can't chain it because it's only once per chain. So Ogre, a very, very good card in my opinion right now. But as it stands, this hand looks pretty bad, and it's going to be pretty reliant on the Desires. But the one thing about opening up Invocation with Shaddoll monsters is it's actually going to allow us to fusion for Construct if we need to. So that's really cool. But let's go ahead and start with the Desires, just because our hand is looking kind of grim. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we banished first. And let's see here. We banished Trick Clown. The 2 Ashes, Ghost Ogre or Shaddoll Fusion. Secrets, Purple, Instant Fusion. That's not too bad of a Desires, actually. And let's see what we were able to pick up. Meltdown and Purple Nightfall. That definitely was 100% worth it, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and play the Meltdown right there in the tune table, the tune world, whatever you want to call it. Then we'll start with the Alistair, which is going to add us an Invocation, which I think we still have 1. We have 2 Invocations in hand now. This is why I only like playing 2, because eventually there gets to a point where it seems like you have all the Invocations you could ever want in your hand at a given time. So now we'll go ahead and link into the Almirage, because that's one of the first things you usually want to do. Now let's just say, for the sake of this test hand, we are going second. So let's say our opponent has 1 card for us to work with, preferably in the combo that the column that Almirage is in. But if not, we have plenty of cards in our hand to set, like this Invocation, to sort of match wherever that card may be, and we can just sort of start popping off. But let's say it's not in this column. Let's just go ahead and set this right here. Maybe it's Maybe it's in the center column, not with the meltdown, but you know, let's say it's in the center column. So let's special summon the purple Nightfall, and let's go ahead and banish it to be able to add a copy of Blue Sky. And then we'll special summon Blue Sky, and Blue Sky will get us another search. We'll add Indigo Eclipse. Now from here, we can go into the Invoker of Madness, which is one other option. This is where, like, I would have gone into, like, per se, if I was still playing Lambda, like, I would have wanted to, like, go into Omega, or not Omega, but Lambda before we use the purple, but that would have kind of made, like, an awkward start to our field. That's just why, like, I kind of wanted to cut it, just because sometimes it just wasn't feeling like it was working too well. Like, when it did work, it worked, but most of the times you just really had to go out of your way to get to it. But at this point, we could easily go for a fusion summon of Mekk, but I'm going to actually link these two off now into Invoker of Madness, just like that. And now we have quite a few options here. We can actually make Construct as well. So let's go ahead and make Construct using Invocation. Now, if we're not fusing for an invoked monster, we have to use monsters from our hand. So we're gonna send Shaddoll Beast and Red Moon to the graveyard for a copy of Construct, and then we'll draw a card here, and we'll go ahead and draw into Succession, and then we'll use the effect here to send another Shaddoll. We'll send Dragon to the grave to pop a back row that they might have. That draw there was really nice. Doesn't hurt to ever just draw a free card. Now from here, we'll go ahead and flip up the Invocation, banishing the, let's see, we'll banish the Red Moon and the Alistair, or we could just banish the Ghost Ogre. I guess that would make more sense. Keep the Red Moon in the graveyard. Banish those. We'll put these over here and summon the Mekk. Now, at this point, I probably just won't use the effect of Invoker of Madness since I'm not playing Book of Law, just because it's kind of a brick when you see it, and a lot of times you don't really need it. Like, in a hand like this, I feel like it'd be too overkill to go for it, because I don't want to, like, discard any of these cards, to be totally honest. But yeah, let's go ahead and put the Invocation back and add the Alistair back to our hand. Shuffle the deck. And as it stands, this is a pretty solid field, really. Going second, we have the opportunity to push damage. If they clear cards, we have some cards to follow up. We have Succession. We have a Mekk Knight play, which we haven't used. We had an ability to stop a hand trap. And most importantly, we have a follow-up / negate for our Mekk for the next turn or two. You know, we're in a pretty good spot. Yeah, and we have this Construct, which can run over pretty much any problem card that our opponent tries to put in front of us. So, yeah, that was a pretty successful test hand, if you ask me. Next time, we're drawing the Shaddoll Fusion, which is dead, but at that point, it's just discard fodder. But that's the one thing I was talking about. Maybe, like, I'll add another Shaddoll monster to the main deck, but I don't know what I'd cut. Maybe a Red Moon or a Yellow Star. But then again, you're just increasing your chances of opening dead Shaddoll monsters, I guess. So let's go ahead and wrap this profile up. But I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, of course. And join Discord, follow me on Twitch, check out Imperium Duelist, all that good stuff. And yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to kill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one.